The NBA is known as a league of highlights. But beyond that, the NBA is also known as a league with lots of fun and embarrassing moments. Here are the top 20 most awkward NBA moments. Number 1. Nick Young. When you're getting into a good rhythm on the court, it may feel like the rim is a mile wide and you can't miss. That's how Nick Young thought in the middle of a blowout game in 2014 versus the Knicks.
Look how much enthusiasm the Lakers are playing with.
More from Shaq.
Shaq to the fool.
When Swaggy P launched a three-pointer and turned away from the goal to celebrate, certain that he'd swished the shot, only to realize a second later that he'd missed. The moment took place at the tail end of a Laker record 51-point quarter when Nick Young, who contributed to the blowout by nailing 5 straight three-pointers, took another three-point jumper and turned his back to the basket to raise his arms and flash the three-pointer hand single. Hilariously, the ball would cling in and out, and Young would have to cut the premature showboating short to get back on defense. It's not something that Young should hang his head in shame about, but it was funny. Number 2. Nate Robinson jumping all over Pierce. In 2010, the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks were playing down to the wire in a close game. In the final possession, the ball was in Paul Pierce's hands, and as customary of the truth, he was able to seal the game with a clutch jumper. With the games decided, Paul Pierce ran to the other end of the court like an aeroplane to showboat his great play.
This extraordinary bubble that has built up at Madison Square Garden.
Ooh, you're talking about sending a message. How many napkins can I get? Paul Pierce with the dagger.
Teammate Nate Robinson wanted to celebrate with Pierce and jump on his back, but apparently Pierce wasn't interested. What resulted was an awkwardly hilarious sequence that nearly broke Nate's neck. Hopefully Nate has learned something from this and will keep his feet planted on the ground rather than his face and celebrate safely. Number 3. Westbrook ends interview due to stupid question. After taking a loss against the Utah Jazz, Westbrook was so disappointed and finished up getting dressed in the locker room as reporters surrounded him to ask questions. It only took one idiotic question from a reporter to make Westbrook snap and end the interview because he felt the reporters were tripping. The reporter asked one of those stupidly worded questions.
Russ, did you guys lose this game or did the Jazz win this one?
Westbrook would respond classically, a disgusted look upon his face and a confused, drawn-out
What?
before turning back on the reporter and saying,
Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Number 4. Tim Duncan, ejected by NBA ref Joey Crawford for laughing. Retired NBA official Joey Crawford had long carried a reputation as a no-nonsense referee that would not tolerate players complaining and questioning his calls. He also had a confusing beef with one of NBA history's greatest power forwards, Tim Duncan.
On a good old time on the bench in 2007, we never see Tim Duncan giggle. Wait, what? I got teed up for what? For laughing?
It was during a regular season game in 2007 when Joey Crawford gave the Spurs franchise player back-to-back technical fouls, simply because he was laughing on the bench during a game against the Dallas Mavericks. Just laughing. To make matters worse, he even challenged Tim Duncan to a fight if he had a problem with the decision. Yes, a tiny 60-year-old ref threatened the 7-foot Tim Duncan with fisticuffs. Number 5. Giannis Antetokounmpo rocks James Harden in the head on a pass attempt. Giannis may have found out the only way to stop Harden. Hell no, I didn't see it coming, Harden said after Milwaukee's 116-109 wins Wednesday in Houston. That hurt. I didn't even know what happened.
Antetokounmpo going to try and back down. Oh, and he hit Harden in the head.
What happened was, Adetokounmpo was backing down PJ Tucker on the other side of the lane. He saw Malcolm Brogdon in the opposite corner and uncorked a one-handed pass aimed in his direction. It just so happened that Harden was in the line of fire. Number 6, Kemba Walker was a Nick Young moment.
And the rebound to Richardson. Still an opportunity with a minute to play.
So awkward. Kemba Walker started to do his happy dance when he went for a three-pointer and thought it went in the net, but it turns out he missed it. In the instant replay taken from the game, Kemba is seen going up for a sweet shot from the three-point line. We have to admit, from the angle that the camera caught the shot at, the ball looked like it was going to get the net. But after bouncing around the rim for a split second, the ball didn't go in. Number 7, J.R. Smith dribbles away the Cavaliers' shot. This is also one of the coolest mistakes in basketball history.
Great job from Smith to get the rebound, but dribble it away. And Hill could not get off a quality shot. Watch James. Now wanted a timeout, but too late to get it.
As the Cavs guard Game 1 flub wasn't the first time a player had sabotaged his team in a pivotal moment. The world tried to figure out exactly what J.R. Smith was thinking. The consensus is that Smith thought that the Cavs were ahead by 1 after George Hill's first free throw, and he was trying to run out the clock. Number 8, Russell Westbrook stares at rim after missing wide-open dunk versus Memphis Grizzlies. There are a few things more guaranteed than a fast break dunk by Russell Westbrook. 10 times out of 10, Russell throws down a thunderous dunk, pun intended, when given the lane. But that frequency may be closer to 9 out of 10 after last night. In the second quarter of the OKC's matchup with the Memphis Grizzlies, Russ played the passing lane and stole the ball en route to a two-handed tomahawk dunk. However, the ball caromed off the back of the rim, much to Russ's chagrin. He played off the embarrassment by laughing at the play and staring at the rim to see if something was wrong. Number 9, Hero slapped Trae Young in the face. A funny incident took place during the Miami Heat versus Atlanta Hawks match.
There's a steal. Young ahead of the field. Hero challenging. Young, a magic trick.
When Tyler Hero, in an attempt to stop Trae Young from going up to the basket, smacked Trae Young in the face. That wasn't Tyler Hero, that was Will Smith disguised as Tyler Hero, Larry Bird said. Number 10, Carmelo Anthony has the worst dunk ever. Early in Tuesday night's game against the Portland Trail Blazers, Carmelo Anthony tried to show off for his hometown fans with a dunk after Ed Davis blocked a shot out of bounds. Unfortunately for Melo, the dunk is going to go viral for all the wrong reasons. At least Melo took things in his stride, laughing with fellow players and the officials shortly after the embarrassing play. Number 11, SGA grabs a rebound and leads the fast break with a shoe in his hand. Oklahoma City Thunder guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander didn't let a loose shoe keep him from snagging a rebound during a game on Friday night. During the team's evening tilt with the Indiana Pacers, Gilgeous-Alexander lost one of his shoes while going up for a layup. However, the Thunder star grabbed the rogue sneaker and continued to play in the game. He even grabbed a one-handed defensive rebound while holding onto the shoe. Number 12, D-Wade and LeBron on the Kiss Cam. The best use ever of the Kiss Cam was by the Atlanta Hawks when they used it on the new couple of LeBron James and Dwayne Wade in 2011. The Heat were decimating the Hawks in the fourth quarter, so the video operator must have been extra salty. He or she tossed on Careless Whisper and tried to make some magic happen, but wound up embarrassing LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Number 13, Kyle Lowry tries to drive between George Hill's legs. In the long history of the sport of basketball, there have always been two and only two options for getting past a defender, left or right. Such a tendency defines players from the NBA to pick up games.
It was an interesting move. I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't think I've ever seen anybody try to take their bodies through the guy's leg.
Toronto Raptors guard Kyle Lowry tried to find a third way. It didn't go well. Facing off with Milwaukee Bucks guard George Hill in a clash of the Eastern Conference's top two teams, Lowry tried to do something. And by something, we mean duck his head down, push it under Hill's groin, and drive forward. Yeah, really. Number 14, Shaq diving into crowds. Shaquille O'Neal remains to be one of the most dominant athletes the NBA has ever seen, standing at a massive 7'1" and weighing as much as 325 pounds. His opponents weren't the only people who had to bear the wrath of his 390-pound body. The Big Diesel also likes giving the fans a taste of what the opponents have to face. Towards the tail end of his career, during his stint with the Phoenix Suns, O'Neal had several iconic crowd dives, one of which was the time when the Hall of Famer prevented injuring two young children who were seated courtside. Number 15, here comes Austin Rivers. The players also know how to have fun, even in important matches. In the match between the Clippers and Houston Rockets, when the match was approaching the very critical final round, Austin Rivers had a slip that made the audience always remember him. In a counterattack after just getting the ball back from Houston, he slipped and fell straight onto the field. Here comes Austin Rivers. Number 16, Kenny shoves Shaq into a Christmas tree. Comedy approaches its peak when Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny Smith race each other from the anchor desk to the video board on TNT's Inside the NBA on Tuesday nights. As Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley remained at the desk, Shaq and Smith jetted off. The Jet got off to an early lead, but still shoved the Diesel into the Broadly Christmas tree before making it to the screen.
Good job. I'm all right.
Number 17, Sam Dekker ruined an easy dunk. Look, you do the same thing. If you were running a fast break with 30 deep to dribble and another NBA athlete bearing down on you, there's no way that you wouldn't fail in some manner. You'd get the shot blocked, or you'd lose control of the ball. Or maybe you have friends in this imagined scenario. For God's sake, man, just pass it to one of them. They'll know what to do with it. Whatever you did, it still might be better than Sam Dekker straight up falling over, having the ball hit him in the dang face, losing it out of bounds, and then returning the other way in utter and complete shame. Number 18, Lakers' Marcelo Huertas with a sneaky steal. Early in the fourth quarter Wednesday at Staples Center, while the Miami Heat point guard leisurely dribbled past half court, a guerrilla basketball steal was lying in wait. Leaping out from behind the cover of enemy territory, or rather, Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra, was the Los Angeles Lakers' Marcelo Huertas, who charged towards the unsuspecting number 7 and forced the turnover. Legend says the shock is still imprinted all over Dragic's face. Number 19, Michael Beasley rubbing Tolliver's knees. The look Tolliver gives Beasley for massaging his knee, or the reaction Beasley gives when he realizes he's rubbing his knee, but his knee isn't sending signals back to his brain. This is classic Michael Beasley. I have to love him. Number 20, Carlos Boozer punches the ref in the balls. Well, after hitting a layup and receiving the one foul call, Boozer celebrated by accidentally hitting ref Danny Crawford in the balls. Maybe Boozer was showing Danny what he wanted to do to LeBron after his flagrant foul in their last meeting. Ouch.